The cold steel of the handcuffs bit into my wrists like a lover's betrayal. But it was the smug curl of Evelyn's lips that really twisted the knife. "You always thought you were better than me, Josie," she whispered as the cops dragged me away. Her voice dripping with that fake southern drawl she'd picked up in boarding school to sound all folksy and innocent. I died screaming her name in that holding cell 3 nights later, overdose on pills they said I smuggled in. But we both knew it was the guard she paid off with Daddy's old watch.
Now,
Here I was, gasping awake in my queen-sized bed on the Upper East Side. The silk sheets tangled around me like a noose. I hadn't quite escaped. My heart hammered against my ribs. The dream, no. The memory, still fresh. The metallic tang of blood in my mouth from biting my tongue during the seizure. The fluorescent lights buzzing like angry hornets overhead. But this wasn't the county jail in Jersey. This was my apartment. The one I'd bought with my first big commission from that Wall Street merger. The clock on the nightstand blinked 2:17 a.m. September 15th, 2023. 6 months before the arrest. I'd come back. God damn it. I'd come back. I bolted upright, my bare feet hitting the hardwood floor that still smelled of fresh lemon polish from the cleaner I'd fired last week for stealing my earrings. Evelyn. That bitch had always been the golden child, tall, blonde, with Daddy's dimples and Mama's way of making you feel like you were the one intruding on her spotlight.
me?
Josephine Josie Hale. The run of the litter. 5'4" with mousy brown hair and a brain that got me into Yale on scholarship while she flunked out of community college twice. We'd grown up in that sprawling McMansion in Greenwich, Connecticut, where the lawns were greener than envy and the secrets festered like mold in the basement. But this time I knew. The betrayal hadn't hit yet in this timeline, but it was coming, slithering in like fog off the Hudson. It started small, the way these things always do in families like ours, whispers at Thanksgiving about how I was changing after landing that VP spot at Goldman Sachs. How Evelyn's art gallery in Soho was just as important as my spreadsheets. She'd smile that megawatt grin, clinking her rose against my scotch. But her eyes, they were knives, sharpening on every success I notched. I stumbled to the bathroom mirror, splashing water on my face, watching droplets race down the porcelain sink like tears I refused to shed. 28 again. The faint scar on my chin from that biking accident at 12, Evelyn pushing me off the driveway because I wouldn't share her Barbie. It was all here, every goddamn inch of me. But inside, I was steel-forged in hellfire. No more playing nice. No more letting her borrow my Chanel for just one night, only to find it slashed in the return pile. By dawn, I'd ordered the cameras. Discreet ones. The kind tech bros install to spy on their nannies, wireless. Motion-activated. Feeding straight to an app on my phone. $300 on Amazon Prime. Delivered by noon. I spent the morning pacing my loft, the exposed brick walls closing in like the bars of that cell. What was the point of coming back if I didn't fix it? If I didn't burn her world down before she could light the match under mine? Evelyn called at 11:45. Her voice all honey and helium. Josie Poo, you free for lunch? I need your eye on this new sculpture. It's, like, totally provocative. Provocative. That's what she called her latest scam. Overpriced found art that was really just dumpster trash spray-painted gold. Her gallery was a money pit, funded by Daddy's trust fund scraps after Mama's cancer ate the rest. I'd bailed her out twice already this year, 50 grand last time for inventory. Inventory my ass. Sure. Ev, I said, forcing the warmth into my tone, the one that made her think she still had me wrapped. 11 Madonna? Noon. You're a lifesaver. Sis.
Click.
Lifesaver. If only she knew. The cameras arrived in a nondescript box, and I spent the afternoon wiring them up like a paranoid housewife in a Lifetime movie. One in the living room, disguised as a smoke detector. Another in the bedroom, nestled in the vase on my dresser. The kitchen got the third, tucked behind the spice rack. My hand shook as I synced them to the app, fingers that had once signed multi-million-dollar deals now fumbling like a junkie's first fix. What if this was all a hallucination? What if I woke up back in that cell? Rotting?
No.
Focus. I tested the feed. Crystal clear. Picking up the hum of the fridge. The distant honk of taxis 30 floors below.
Good. Now.
The bait. I pulled out the shoebox from under my bed, the one with the letters. Faded ink on yellowed paper. Daddy's scrawled confessions from his affair with that secretary in '05. The one that shattered Mama. Sent her spiraling into the pills. Evelyn thought I'd burned them years ago, after she begged me to during one of her spiritual cleanses. But I'd kept them. A nuclear option in case she ever pushed too far. I scattered a few on the coffee table, casual-like, next to a bottle of unopened View of Clickwat. Texted her, forgot to mention, found some old family stuff. Come over after lunch?
Bring wine?
Her reply was instant. OMG, yes. Nostalgia night. She showed up at 7. Heels clicking like castanets on my floor. A bottle of cheap Merlot in one hand and a takeout bag from Nobu in the other. Sushi truce, she announced, pecking my cheek with lips that smelled of vanilla gloss. God. She was beautiful, porcelain skin, waves of gold that caught the pendant lights like a halo. But halos crack easy. We ate cross-legged on the rug, laughing about that time Daddy caught us sneaking Boone's farm in the gazebo. Lies. All of it. But I played along, refilling her glass until her cheeks flushed pink. So, these letters, she said finally, eyes flicking to the box. Daddy's ghosts. Something like that. I sipped my water, clear-headed. Always. Makes you wonder what else we buried. Huh. She waved it off. But I saw the flicker. The hook was set. By 10, she was crashing on my couch, too tipsy to Uber. She claimed. I kissed her forehead, tucked a throw over her, then slipped into my office. The app pinged at 11:23 p.m. Motion in the bedroom. There she was, my big sister, tiptoeing like a cat burglar in her own skin. The feed showed her rifling through my dresser drawers, pulling out that diamond necklace Mama left me, the one Evelyn lost at her last gallery opening. Her fingers traced the chain, eyes narrowing to slits. Should have been mine, she muttered, voice tinny through the speakers. Always yours. The brains, the bucks, the bullshit. I froze, bile rising. But it got worse. She pocketed the necklace, then moved to the nightstand, flipping open my journal, the leather-bound one where I'd vented about work stress, about how Evelyn's loans were bleeding me dry. She scanned the pages, lips moving silently, then snapped photos with her phone. Blackmail fodder? Evidence for some custody play with her deadbeat ex's kids? But the real gut punch came when she hit the closet. There, in the back, was the safe, combination her birthday. Because why not trust family? She spun the dial, popped it open, and pulled out the flash drive. Daddy's insurance policy, digital copies of those letters, plus bank statements showing he'd funneled money to her for years. Off books. To cover her gambling debts. Debts she'd sworn were under control. Evelyn held it up to the light, a triumphant gleam in her eye. Gotcha now, Josie. This ends your perfect little life. She slipped it into her bra. Then, Jesus grabbed my favorite Louboutins. The red soles scuffed from that night we danced at Lebain. She hurled them against the wall, watching them splinter with a satisfied hiss. Wear these to your next board meeting.
Bitch.
I watched it all unfold on my phone screen, curled in the armchair like a spectator at my own funeral. Rage boiled up, hot and holy, but I didn't move. Not yet. This was just the appetizer. The main course, her ruination, served cold. Morning came with her humming in my shower, using my Tom Ford. Naturally. I deleted the footage from the cloud but kept locals backed up on an encrypted drive. When she emerged, towel-turbaned and smug, I hugged her tight. Thanks for last night. You're the best sister. She beamed, oblivious. Anytime, Jojo. As she left, I locked the door and poured myself a scotch. 6 months. That's all I had before the frame job, the anonymous tip to the SEC about insider trading at my firm, the doctored emails with my signature. Last time, it crushed me. This time, I'd flip the script. First move, dig deeper. I hired a PI that afternoon, a grizzled ex-cop named Harlan from Queens who didn't ask questions for $500 a day. What are we looking for? MS. Hale. Everything on Evelyn Hale.
Debts.
Lovers.
Lies.
Especially lies. He grunted. Family, the worst kind. By evening, the first report landed in my inbox. Evelyn's gallery was a front for money laundering, small time, but sloppy. Ties to a bookie in Atlantic City, the kind who breaks knees for fun. And the kicker? She'd been skimming from Mama's estate, falsifying appraisals on jewelry to sell pieces under the table. That necklace? Already listed on a dark web auction as vintage heirloom. I laughed, a jagged sound that echoed off the bricks.
Oh, Evie.
You thought you were the fox in the henhouse. But I'm the wolf now. And this henhouse is mine. The days blurred into a frenzy of double lives. By day, I was Josie Hale, golden girl of finance, closing deals on ESG funds for tech unicorns, my smile a weapon polished to perfection. Boardrooms in Midtown, power lunches at the grill, where I'd nod along to the old boys club bullshit about disrupting while mentally mapping Evelyn's downfall. Nights were for the hunt. Harlan's updates piled up. Evelyn's latest fling was a married hedge fund manager, photos of them tangled in the Hamptons, her nails raking his back like she was claiming territory. And the debts? 90 grand to the bookie. Plus interest that'd have her swimming with the fishes by Christmas if she didn't pay. But the secret, the real rot?
It tied back to Daddy.
Those letters weren't just affairs. They detailed embezzlement from his firm, siphoned to fund Evelyn's education abroad. Mama knew. That's why the cancer came with a side of bourbon. And Evelyn? She'd covered for him. Forged documents to bury it all when he died of a heart attack in 18. Heart attack my ass, overdose. Same as mine. Hushed up by lawyers on retainer. I confronted the mirror one night, tracing the scar. You let her win once, Josie. Not again. The plan crystallized over takeout pad thai, leaked the affair to the hedge funder's wife, anonymously. Of course. Tipped the bookie to her gallery schedule. And the embezzlement? That I'd save for the feast. Evelyn texted, "Sis night? Miss you. Always." I replied. My place. Bring the good stuff. She arrived with a bottle of Patron and that same predatory glow. We shot tequila in the kitchen, her laughing about creative accounting at the gallery. Creative. I mirrored her buzz. But my app was live. Cameras rolling as she accidentally spilled salt on my white rug. Later, as she dozed on the couch again, I slipped into her purse. Her phone unlocked. Because trust. Text to the bookie. Payment Friday. Don't fuck with me. Photos of the flash drive's contents. Caption jackpot. I forwarded it all to Harlan. Escalate. The first domino fell Thursday. The hedge funder's wife, a Park Avenue dragon named Victoria, got the photos via a burner email from concerned friend. By Friday, Evelyn's fling was over. The Hamptons house locked down, and she called me sobbing.
Josie.
It's bad.
He
accused me of entrapment. I cooed sympathies. Wired her 10 grand for emergencies. Traced. Of course. Let the bookie sniff that wire. Saturday. The gallery opening. I showed up in a sheath dress that hugged like armor, air-kissing patrons while Evelyn fluttered like a moth to the flame. You came, she squealed, pulling me into a hug that smelled of desperation and Chanel No.
5.
Wouldn't miss it. The sculpture in question? A twisted metal thing called Betrayal's Edge. Ironic. As the night wore on, I slipped out for a smoke, menthols. A vice I'd quit last life. Harlan texted, Bookie's boys en route. 5 minutes. I re-entered just as the door burst open. 2 goons in leather jackets. Faces like chewed leather. Evelyn Hale, you got a tab to settle. The room froze. Champagne flutes hovering midair. Evelyn's face drained white. This is a private event. Josie. Call security. I dialed 911 slow, letting the chaos bloom. Screams. Shattered glass. The bookie's enforcer grabbing her arm. Friday was yesterday. Sweetheart. Cops swarmed 10 minutes later, cuffing the goons. But not before Evelyn's provocative world cracked wide. Whispers rippled. Money laundering. Mob ties? Her patrons bolted like rats. She cornered me in the alley after. Mascara rivers on her cheeks. What the hell happened? You were supposed to help. I did, I said softly. I called the cops. Her eyes narrowed. That fox gleam surfacing. You're enjoying this. A beat. Maybe I am. She laughed.
Bitter.
Always the smart one. But you don't know shit. Josie. Daddy's secrets? They're ours.
Ours.
That's when I knew the twist, the real poison. She thought we were in it together.
But no.
This was war. The fallout from the gallery hit like a nor'easter, swift, sloppy, and soaked in regret that wasn't mine. By Monday, Evelyn's face was splashed across page 6. Eris's art faux pas turns felony fiasco. The post went harder. Mobbed up muse? Sisters gallery affront for wise guys. I clipped them all, pinning them to a corkboard in my office like a serial killer's trophy wall. Harlan delivered the next dossier over coffee at a diner in Hell's Kitchen. Black. No sugar. Just like the truth. She's lawyered up, he said, sliding a manila envelope across the formica. Some ambulance chaser from Flatbush. But the book's digging. IRS sniffing around those appraisals. And the hedge funder's wife filed for divorce, naming her sis as correspondent. Nasty. Nasty didn't cover it. Inside the envelope, printouts of Evelyn's emails. Hacked from her crappy Proton account. Sloppy.
Evie? Always sloppy.
She'd been selling Mama's jewelry piecemeal, listing them as estate sale finds on Etsy knockoffs. The sapphire brooch from Grandma Hale, flogged for $8,000 to a Russian oligarch's shell corp. And the kicker, wire transfers to an offshore account in Daddy's name. Post-mortem puppetry. I paid Harlan another $500, plus a Benjamin for the emails. Keep digging. I want her childhood, her crushes, her goddamn kindergarten report cards. He chuckled. A gravelly rumble. You Hale girls play dirty. Only when we have to. Back at the loft. I pored over the files till my eyes burned. Evelyn's life unspooled like a bad rom-com, expelled from Spence for spiking the punch with vodka at 14. Then the gap year in Europe that was really rehab in Zurich. Courtesy of Daddy's guilt money. She dated a string of trust fund losers. Each one dumber than the last. But the pattern? Always the one holding the knife when the money ran dry. And me, the enabler. Last life. I'd covered for her at every turn. Alibis for her benders. Loans for her ventures. Even forging a reference letter for that gallery lease when the landlord balked.
Why?
Because blood's thicker than water. Or so Mama drilled into us. But blood clots. It poisons. Evelyn called that night. Voice a wreck.
Josie.
I need you. Like,
now.
I drove to her walk-up in the East Village, a fourth-floor rat trap with exposed pipes and art posters peeling like scabs. She answered in a silk robe that gaped strategically. Eyes red-rimmed, but makeup intact. The cops grilled me for hours. Said it's extortion or some shit. I hugged her, feeling the bones jet under her skin. What can I do?
Money.
Just a bridge loan.
20?
The lawyers.
20.
Always 20. Ev. I'm tapped. That merger bonus is earmarked for taxes. Her face twisted. Ugly for the first time. Taxes? Fuck your taxes. This is family.
Family.
The word hung like smoke. I pulled back, meeting her gaze. Like when you found Mama's ring after the funeral? Or when you told the SEC I approved those trades? She blinked, feigning confusion.
What?
Josie. You're paranoid. Cut the crap. I shoved the envelope at her, the emails, the transfers. I know about the brooch. And Daddy's Cayman stash. Do you think I'm cleaning this? We're both knee-deep. She snatched it, scanning pages with trembling hands. Then, a laugh low. Dangerous. So that's your play? Blackmail me back. Not blackmail. Balance. I stepped closer, voice steady as a surgeon's scalpel. You stop the games, or I send this to the feds. Your choice. Her eyes flashed. Daddy's temper. Mama's steel. You wouldn't. You're the good one. Good gets you killed. The words slipped out. Ghosts from the cell. She didn't notice. Fine, she spat. Truce. But if you screw me, I won't. Liar. She wired the plea for money to her lawyer that night, my 20 grand, laundered through a shell LLC I'd set up that morning. Harlan's contact at the DA's office got an anonymous tip. Check Evelyn Hale's accounts for fraud. By Wednesday, her phone was buzzing with subpoenas. Work was my anchor, the one place Evelyn couldn't touch. I crushed a pitch on green bonds for a solar startup, earning nods from the suits who still called me the girl wonder behind my back. But inside, I was unraveling threads. Late nights, I'd review the camera feeds, Evelyn's visits turning frantic, her rifling less subtle. Last week, she'd swipe my Rolex, muttering about collateral. This time, I confronted her on the stoop. Give it back. She froze, then smirked, dangling the watch. Finders keepers? Evelyn. Fine. She tossed it overhand.
Hard.
It clattered on the steps. You're no fun anymore, Jojo. Fun. That's what she'd called it when she crashed my Yale mixer, seducing my crush to loosen me up. Or when she borrowed my thesis notes, plagiarizing chunks for her dropout essays. I picked up the watch. Strap snapped. This ends.
Ev.
All of it. Her laugh echoed down the block. You think you can end me?
Daddy chose me.
Always did. Chose her. The words ignited something primal. That night, I drove to Greenwich. The old house dark and sold to some tech bro. But the cemetery? Still Hale territory. Mama's stone gleamed under moonlight, etched with beloved mother. Beloved.
Ha.
I knelt, tracing the letters. I know what she did.
Mom.
The pills weren't yours alone. Daddy's a fair woman? She'd OD'd too. 6 months before Mama. Evelyn's errand, to pick up groceries that day. A coincidence? In our family, nothing was. Harlan's call came at dawn. Jackpot. MS.
Hale.
Your pop's will. Forged addendum. Evelyn witnessed it. Bumped your share by 20% to hers. Notary's a ghost. But I got a lead. She paid him off in Jersey.
Jersey.
Where I died. The circle closed. Choking tight. I spent the week building the noose. Hired a forger, ironic. Right? To replicate Daddy's signature on a counterdock. Restoring my inheritance. Slipped it to the estate lawyer with a found in old files note. Evelyn got the call Friday. Audit triggered. Her witness fee under scrutiny. She showed up at my door pounding. Rain-soaked and feral. You bitch. The will, how? Goes.
Evie.
They talk. She lunged, nails raking my arm. I shoved her back, tasting copper. Get out. This isn't over, she screamed, storming down the hall.
No.
It wasn't. The SEC tip last life? It traced to a burner phone bought at a bodega near her gallery. This time, I beat her to it, planted a tracker in her purse during truce coffee. Watched her meet a shady IT guy in a Chelsea dive. Make it look like her, she hissed on the recording. Josie's sloppy with emails.
Sloppy.
The irony burned sweeter than bourbon. I fed the audio to my firm's compliance team, anonymous. Whistleblower style. Potential fraud targeting VP Hale. By Monday, Internal Affairs had me in a glass-walled conference room, grilled like a perp. MS.
Hale.
This recording, it's your sister? I played innocent. Eyes wide. God. I hope not. But her voice. They bought it. Suspended her, pending investigation. Evelyn called raging. You set me up? Prove it. The bookie escalated. His boys torched her Vespa outside the gallery. A warning scrawled in spray paint, pay up. She crashed at my place again, whimpering apologies over microwave pizza. Josie. They're gonna kill me. I handed her a blanket. Cameras whirring silent. Then tell me everything. No more lies. She did. In fits and starts, Daddy's embezzlement. The forged will. Even the affair woman's OD. I just delivered the baggie. She was begging. Josie. For the pain.
Pain.
Mama's pain.
2. And me?
The arrest. Her eyes dropped. You were collateral. The SEC hit would tank your rep. Free up the trust. I didn't mean. You killed me. The words hung. Flat as a verdict.
She sobbed.
I'm sorry. God. I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
Not enough. That night, as she slept, I copied her phone, every contact, every secret. The hedge funder blacklisted her to every club in the city. The bookie got a tip from Evelyn promising double if he visited her rival artists. Chaos snowballed. But the real play? The twist I hadn't seen coming. Even in death. Harlan's final report, DNA from the affair woman, Evelyn's half-sister. Daddy's spawn, hidden to protect the real family. Mama knew, drank to forget. Evelyn? She'd silenced her to claim the throne.
Blood.
Thicker than lies. I confronted her at dawn. Over coffee black as sin. Tell me about Claire. She froze. Mug shattering on the tile. Who? The woman you poisoned. Our sister. Her face crumpled. Then hardened. She was nothing. A mistake. Mistake. I laughed. Like me? The slap came fast. Stinging. You were always jealous.
Jealous.
Of scraps?
No. Evie.
I pitied you. She grabbed the knife block, domestic.
Deadly. Pity this.
I disarmed her easy self-defense classes post-Yale. After her joke with the car keys. She crumpled, wailing. Why won't you let me win? Because winners don't destroy their own. Cops came at my call, domestic disturbance. She went quiet in the squad car, staring back with eyes that finally saw me. The wolf. But victory tasted like ash. As they drove off, my phone buzzed, firm email. VP Hale, under review for ethics violation. Ethics. Harlan's hack, trace back.
No.
Evelyn's parting gift, a forged email in my name. Leaked to HR. The frame. Flipped. War indeed. The ethics probe hit like a freight train through Penn Station. Unseen. Unstoppable. Derailing everything I'd rebuilt. Tuesday morning. I walked into Goldman Sachs with my head high, Armani's suit pressed sharp as a switchblade, only to be ushered into a corner office with frosted glass and 2 stone-faced suits from legal. MS.
Hale.
We've received credible allegations of insider manipulation. Care to explain this? The lead, a balding prick named Hargrove with a Harvard drawl, slid a tablet across the desk. There was my email to a junior analyst, time-stamped last month, tipping off a biotech merger. Bullshit. All of it. IP spoofed from Evelyn's IT guy. The one she'd met in Chelsea. I leaned back, crossing my legs like I owned the room. Fabricated. Check the metadata.
They did.
Eventually. After a polygraph that left me dehydrated and pissed. Cleared by Thursday. But the damage?
Bruised.
Whispers in the elevators. Hale's dirty. Figures. With that trash family. My yes-G pitch got yanked. Reassigned to some golden boy from Wharton. I smiled through it, nodding at water cooler chats. But inside, a storm front rolling in off the Atlantic. Evelyn, of course, played the victim card hard. Released on bail, my 20 grand. Funnily enough, she flooded my inbox with voicemails. Josie, it's a misunderstanding. The cops think I'm crazy. But I know you planted that knife. Crazy. Projection much? I saved them all. Forwarding to Harlan for his insurance file. He met me at a dive bar in Murray Hill. Nursing a youngling. She's lawyering up big now, retained that shark from the Epstein case. And get this. The DNA on Claire? Matches. Half cis. Buried in a potter's field upstate. Evelyn visited once a year. Flowers and all. Sick shit.
Sick.
That's what therapy would have called it, if I'd bothered last life. Instead, I drowned in work, letting Evelyn's shadow eclipse mine. No more. Options? I asked, signaling for another round. Harlan lit a smoke, illegally. But who cared? Feds are circling the gallery for laundering. Push the will forgery. And she's toast, 10 to 20. Easy. But the ethics thing? She's got dirt on you too. Old emails. You covering her loans. Creative accounting, she calls it. Collateral. Again. I drain my beer. Foam bitter on my tongue. Then we burn it all. The plan evolved that night. Scribbled on a napkin stained with ring marks. Leak the full dossier to the Times. Anonymous source. Pulitzer bait. Daddy's embezzlement. Evelyn's forgeries. Claire's murder dressed as mercy. Tie it to the SEC frame. Make it look like a family empire crumbling under greed. Controversial? Hell yes, Hale name dragged through tabloids. Mama's memory slandered as the drunk wife who ignored it all. But truth's a blunt instrument. It doesn't care about pretty. I executed Friday. From a VPN in a Starbucks on Lex. The story dropped Saturday. Wall Street Scion's dark legacy. Embezzlement. Forgery. And a sister's secret shame. By noon, Evelyn's bail was revoked. Flight risk. They said. Her gallery shuttered. Padlocked by feds in windbreakers. She called from lockup. Voice a razor wire. You did this. My life gone. Your life was a lie.
Evie.
Own it. Fuck you. Josie. You think you're clean? Mama's pills? I found them. Hid them where she'd accidentally. The line clicked dead. My hands shook. Phone slipping to the floor. Mama. Not cancer alone. Evelyn's help with the meds. Swapping labels in the haze of hospice. Mercy or matricide? I retched into the sink. The loft spinning. Coming back wasn't salvation, it was excavation. Unearthing bones I'd buried deep. Harlan pulled me out of it Sunday, dragging me to Coney Island, boardwalk ghosts and Nathan's hot dogs. A farce of normalcy. You okay?
Kid.
At 28. Twice lived. She killed Mom. He nodded. No pity. Knew it smelled off. Autopsy rushed. But I got a contact at the ME's office. Tox screen buried. But recoverable. Like me. We spent the afternoon plotting the endgame. Exhume Mama's body. Force the tox. Evelyn's empire. Poof. But controversy brewed. Monday. The firm called me in again. Not ethics, reputation. Hale family's toxic. Josie. Clients pulling funds. Suggest a leave.
Leave.
Code for you're fired. But nice. I quit on the spot. Walking out with a severance check and a Rolodex of contacts. Freelance consulting. Baby. New life. Untainted. Evelyn's arraignment was a circus. Paparazzi swarming the courthouse steps like locusts. Microphones thrusting like spears. I watched from the back, incognito in a ball cap and shades. She looked small and orange, hair limp, that dimple a cruel joke. The charges: fraud, forgery, manslaughter for Claire. Bail denied. Her eyes found mine across the room, locking like heat seekers.
Hate. Pure. Good.
Post-hearing, the twist hit, literally. A car jumped the curb outside, tires screeching, grill kissing my thigh before swerving into a hydrant. Pain exploded, white hot, bones grinding. I hit pavement, tasting asphalt and irony. Sirens wailed. Hospital lights blurred. MS. Hail. A dock in scrubs. Clipboard shadow. Hit and run. You're lucky, fractured femur, but you'll walk. Lucky. As they wheeled me to X-ray, my phone buzzed in the evidence bag. Missed call, unknown. Voicemail, Evelyn's voice. Tinny and triumphant. Told you it's not over. Watch your back. Sis. From the jail?
No.
She'd outsourced Bookie's boys, tying loose ends. Or her lawyer's errand. Rehab was hell, 6 weeks in a private suite at Mount Sinai. Morphine drips and physical therapy that left me screaming. Friends visited, the few real ones, like my old roommate Tara, bearing gossip mags with my face circled. Josephine Hale, victim or viper in Family Feud? Victim. Viper.
Both.
Harlan smuggled in files. Tox report confirmed. Double dose of oxycodone in mama system. Time to Evelyn's shift. Exhumation ordered. The press ate it up. Heiress accused in mother's suspicious death. Evelyn's defense crumbled. Her shark jumped ship, citing ethical conflicts. Plea deal floated. 25 to life. No parole. I got out on crutches mid-November. The city dusted in early snow. The loft felt haunted, cameras dismantled. But echoes lingered. I sold it all: bricks, beams. The view of the Chrysler Building like a chrome dagger. New start in Brooklyn. A brownstone walk-up with creaky stairs and no ghosts. Freelancing kicked off slow, advising startups on ethical pivots, irony not lost. But money flowed.
Clean.
No more sacks. No more shadows. Evelyn's trial loomed January. A spectacle of suits and sobs. I testified. Voice steady. She betrayed us all. Your Honor. For what? A throne built on bones. The jury deliberated 2 days.
Guilty.
All counts. Sentencing, life. With a shank's chance of appeal. She stared daggers from the dock, lips mouthing bitch as they led her away. I met her gaze. Unflinching. Love you too, sis. Outside. Snow fell fat and forgiving. I hailed a cab. Leg throbbing. Heart lighter than since the handcuffs. But twists. They say. Come in threes. Harlan called that night. Your pops came in account? Not empty. 10 mil. Wired to a trust in your name. Evelyn's addendum missed it. Daddy's final fuck you. 10 mil. Enough for a life unscarred. I laughed till I cried, toasting the window with tap water. Back from the dead. Richer for it. Yet sleep evaded. Nightmares blending timelines. Evelyn's smirk morphing into mine. The knife in her hand now gleaming in my reflection. Was I the wolf? Or just another fox? Sharper clawed? Winter gripped New York like a jealous ex, relentless. Thawing just enough to remind you of the freeze ahead. By February 2024. I'd settled into the brownstone in Cobble Hill. A narrow shotgun with bay windows overlooking a courtyard strung with fairy lights from some neighbor's endless holiday cheer. The leg healed crooked, a limp that turned heads on the subway. But I owned it, cane tapping like a metronome to my reinvention. Josephine Hale 2.0, consultant by day, ghostwriter for memoirs by night, penning tales of comeback queens who'd clawed from worse than family knives. The 10 mil, parked in index funds. Low and slow, no flash. No Evelyn-style bonfires. I donated chunks anonymously. Women's shelters in Jersey. A scholarship at Yale for overlooked daughters. Karma's a bitch. But she pays in compound interest. Harlan retired to Florida. A bungalow in Sarasota with a pool and no extradition worries. You did good, kid, he grumbled over our last call. Cigar smoke rasping the line. Don't go digging anymore. No promises. But I tried. Therapy helped. A shrink named Lena in a Park Slope office. All plants and affirmations. Anger's valid. Josie. But forgiveness? That's power. Forgiveness. I nodded. But inside, Evelyn's face in court. That final glare. Power was the gavel's crack, not olive branches. Spring bloomed messy. Cherry blossoms choking the sidewalks like pink confetti from a bad divorce. My first big client, a fintech CEO fresh off a Me Too scandal. Rebranding as woke warrior. I scripted his TEDx talk. Words like vulnerability and allyship dripping from my keyboard. Controversial? The comments sections lit up, half cheering the redemption arc, half torching it as PR spin. I sipped rose on my stoop, watching the digital pyre. Felt like home. Evelyn wrote from Bedford Hills, maximum security, where the walls whispered worse sins than ours. Her letters came weekly, scrawled on lined paper that smelled of bleach and regret. Josie, I was wrong. The devil in me, daddies, mamas. Forgive? I burned them in the courtyard fire pit, ashes swirling like fireflies. Forgiveness was a luxury for the unbroken. The high school reunion hit in June. Greenwich Academy. Class of 13. All Botox and Bentleys at the yacht club. I almost skipped, but Tara dragged me. Show and the limp's your superpower. Power suit. Heels I could manage. Hair blown straight. Heads turned as I entered. Murmurs rippling. That's Josie Hale? The one who buried her psycho sister? I finished for the whisper. A former cheer captain named Britt, with lips plumped to duckbill.
Yeah.
Shots. We drank Cosmos till midnight, spilling tea on exes and elective surgeries. No one asked about the trial, too tacky, even for old money. But in the bathroom line, Britt cornered me, heard Evelyn's appealing. Claims you gaslit her into confessing. Gaslit. The words stuck like gum on my soul. Let her. Truth outs. Back home. I Googled it, appeal filed. Pro bono from some ACLU type sniffing sibling abuse angles. Controversy bait. Innocent heiress framed by ambitious sister? Pundits on Fox and MSNBC duked it out. My name trending with hail hell. Sleep fled again. I reinstalled the cameras, not for paranoia, but habit. The brownstone's quirks demanded it, creaks at night that sounded like footsteps. Shadows in the hall like Evelyn's silhouette. Summer sweltered. Air thick as guilt. My book deal landed. A tell-all. Blood bonds. Surviving familial betrayal. Ghosted under a pseudonym. Agent called it Gone Girl Meets Big Little Lies. I called it catharsis. Chapters poured out. The cameras. The will. Claire's grave under dandelions. No punches pulled. But blurred edges, no full names. Just E and J. Launch party in September. A rooftop bash in Dumbo with skyline views and craft IPAs. Critics raved. Raw. Unflinching. A modern media. Haters howled. Exploitative cash grab on tragedy. Sales topped 50K week 1. I cashed the check. Wired half to Mama's old charity. Evelyn's appeal hearing loomed October. Televised gavel to gavel on court TV. I watched from my couch. Wine glass sweating in hand. Her lawyer. A slick weasel in pinstripes. Spun yarns. Abused by a controlling sibling. Ms. Hale acted in duress. Clips of us as kids. Evelyn pushing me on the swing. Me beaming up. Cherry-picked bullshit. My testimony? Virtual. From a sterile Zoom box. She chose murder. Your Honor. Over and over. Cross-exam dug deep. Isn't it true? Ms.
Hale.
You profited from her downfall? The book. The inheritance. Profited. I leaned in. Unflinching. Survived. The judge, a no-nonsense broad from the Bronx, denied the appeal in chambers. Leak hitting X before lunch. Evelyn's scream echoed through the feed. A banshee wail that chilled my marrow. Final letter came November. You won. Josie. But we're the same. Monsters in mirrors. No signature. Just a lipstick kiss in crimson. I framed it. Hung it by the door. Reminder. Monsters evolve. Thanksgiving alone. Turkey for one. Netflix droning. Tara texted. Come to mine? Next year. I replied.
Healing.
Winter circled back. Softer this time. I dated a barista named Alex with tattoos and trust issues. Easy laughs over dive bar wings. No deep dives. No, tell me your family tree. Surface schemes. That's all I could float. New Year's Eve. The brownstone party. Neighbors in ugly sweaters. Prosecco popping like gunfire. Midnight kiss with Alex. Fireworks blooming over the harbor. For a second, the limp vanished. The scars faded. Josephine Hale.
Alive.
But dawn brought the call. Harlan. Voice cracked. Kid. It's bad. Evelyn. Shank in the yard. Bled out quick. Shank. Prison poetry. I hung up, staring at the framed letter. Monsters in mirrors. Cops called it gang initiation. Wrong place. Wrong ink. But I knew her friends inside. The ones she'd laundered for. Loose ends.
Snipped.
Funeral was closed casket. A pauper's plot in Potter's Field. Irony's encore. I stood alone. Wind whipping my coat. Scattering Evelyn's ashes myself. No prayers. Just words. Rest. Sis. No more games. Back in Brooklyn. I burned the corkboard. Clippings curling black. The book deal expanded. Sequel optioned. Hollywood sniffing. Controversy? Fuel. Alex stuck around. Tattoos tracing my scars like maps to buried treasure. You're a force, he said one night. Tangled in sheets.
Force.
Or fallout. Spring 2025. I walked, cane-free, into a TED stage in Vancouver. Reborn from betrayal. Owning your second act. Crowd thundered. But my eyes? On the wings. Imagining Evelyn's smirk. Were the same. Maybe. But I chose light. She chose the blade. Twists end. The mirror cracks. But you step through.